That kind of blow. Doesn't that blow the whole illusion of the show?
Wait, what are we doing tonight?
What show is this?
We're doing the midnight show?
Yeah, we're doing the midnight show. Woohoo!
Oh, cool.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Get a little intense.
I was trying to get those off camera. Look what happened.
Theater Downtown is traditionally, it really is an offshoot of another theater that I came upon called Tropical Theater way back in 1986.
That theater was closing, and the people involved with it wanted to keep the spirit of live theater going, and they created Theater Downtown.
We used to be down at, right downtown off of Central, where the old bus station is, and we dedicated ourselves to staying in the downtown area.
In the very early days of conception, the building that it was in had a strong rainstorm and the roof collapsed, and consequently we had to move.
And then we moved theater uptown, because this is about as far uptown, Princeton and Orange, as you can get. So we even toyed with the idea when we moved, about the idea of changing it to Theater Uptown over the last 10 years, and said, well, really, Theater Uptown? But Theater Downtown is stuck with us, and that's because of our dedication to being in downtown Orlando. It was built around 1905, 1907, around there.
And when it was first built, it was only a slab and a roof. There were no walls.
The building originally, I believe, was a Buick dealership, and then Dr. Phillips, who owned a lot of the orange groves in this Central Florida area, took over that after the crash, the stock market crash.
This whole room we're sitting in was packed to the ceiling in grapefruit and oranges, and they would ship them because the railroad track is right behind us a half a block.
And then it became an appliance. They used to sell appliances, which is funny because a lot of people come in to buy tickets and go, I bought my first refrigerator here.
So you amazed all the people that I talked to in this town over 28 years I've been here. And I say, well, we're at the corner of Princeton and Orange. They go, oh God, that used to be an appliance store. I go, yeah, you ought to come in and see what's there now. Live appliances, changing every night.
Back in 84, 85, you could roll a bowling ball down Orange Avenue on a Saturday evening and be assured of not hitting anything. There was nothing going on in this town. There were only 1 or 2 established theaters.
Before there was a theater downtown, I was on the original cast and crew of people that put the place together, and basically have been here since day one.
And I'd see ads in the paper, things like that, Theater Downtown, and for some reason in my mind, that was the place that I needed to be, I thought.
I saw an audition and stopped by, and I was way too young, way too inexperienced for the role that I was auditioning for, and Frank gave his infamous, all right, if I don't cast you, come see the show. I don't think I saw a show.
I've been working with them since before they were a Theater Downtown. I started with them when they were still Tropical Theater.
So we set up a meeting, and I came in, knocked on the little door, and I'd never been in here. So I come in, and it was like really dark and like kind of scary because this whole room is like, where are we?
I was sitting at home, my children were watching TV, my husband was studying, and I was playing Pac-Man, and I thought, there's got to be more to life than this. And
The longer I stuck around, the more I got to do, the more experience I got. So I just sort of, worked my way up the corporate ladder, as you might think.
My first show, I had to wear a black slip almost the whole time on stage. My first show was Death of a Salesman.
There was another theater here in town that wrote a play about their trials and tribulations of opening, and probably ought to do that here one of these days.
The first play was one I directed. It was an original translation of Racine's Phaedra, and it starred Frank. as King Theseus. So I think I directed Frank in his first play with this. He was wonderful too.
Told Frank Hilgenberg, I'll work backstage. I want to get my foot in the door. So I did it. I was working backstage. Blanche Dubois has this big trunk that goes on and off, so I was doing that, and I was assistant stage manager also for that. And then he had a part that he didn't cast, a small part where there was a fight, and he needed to get a guy to do it. So he said, Dean, I need somebody I didn't cast his part. And so I went out, we rumbled around a little bit, and so that was my first on stage here at that time, yeah.
Sometimes you're also involved in a little bit more level as a designer, or especially if you're a director, and some people as performers. I performed in one show here. I actually did get on stage.
After I did it, I came out, I was like beat up, and so I was acting like I was hurt or something like that. And we're sitting at the bar over here, and Frank came back. He said, Dean, are you okay? You okay? I said, yeah, why? He goes, because you look like you were hurt when you walked. I said, well, it's called acting.
I don't think there's another green room in town that has allowed each of the cast members to use the wall as a place to leave a reminder, a remnant of who they are. Now, after 21 years and over 300 productions, or 280 productions, whatever it is, there's not enough space in the green room, so I'll show you a couple of different plaques that people fill up, and then we have them here as well. Some of these early shows took the entire wall, as if, well, how long are we really going to last? Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Don Juan in Chicago, Leaving Neverland, an original piece. Over here we have something called Titus Andronicus by Shakespeare, A New Brain, Man from Nebraska. These are all shows that said, wait a minute, we're running out of space. Like, this is Suburbia. And that was a show we did a long time ago, almost 17 years ago. How many theaters do you have? I've worked in many over the years, where you have a room where you can leave some little remnant. There have been people who have claimed that when they're in this room alone, they actually see his eyes move and follow him. This is where the people come. This is where they, in many ways, get to know each other. They eventually learn more about each other on stage, but they learn about the person here. This is where we try to say, leave the baggage at the door. Because when you come in here, you're going into another world.
Have I run into the ghosts? Oh, hell yeah.
There is a Poe spirit that is supposed to be roaming around this building.
When I enter this room, this theater, I say hello to them all, and I thank them all, and I ask them for their blessings.
We did have what the clairvoyant called a visitation that night.
There's been many a night that the door is slammed, or the window is closed, or the thing is bumped at 2 o'clock in the morning when you know there's no one around. But generally, they don't bother me too much.
All the other lights in the building are off, and I'm turning off all the lights in the dressing room, and the Poe light is on. So I go to turn the Poe light off, and no, don't turn that off. That's the Poe light. You have to leave that on. I'm like, oh yeah, right. So I turn off the Poe light, and all the lights upstairs come on at the same exact moment.
I mean, my mom's spirit. Every show I do, I know exactly which chair she sits in. So yeah, there's ghosts here. And we love them.
What does theater downtown mean to me? Everything.
Frank and Fran are such amazing people.
I wouldn't have a theater career if it weren't for Fran and Frank in Theater Downtown. That's about as blunt as I can put it.
Every theater group becomes a family. This is true. Something a little different about this building. It really brings people back on a regular basis.
Fran and Frank are like, the big mom and dad, and
You're lucky when you can look back on your life and say this is when it changed. And it's been through this theater. I've met, my wife.
it's definitely family. We're not just co-workers, we're family, and there's a loyalty factor and a friendship that you might not find at every theater.